Oh, looks like he's gonna be a part of it.
Yes, he
like,
wants to.
What about me?
He loves everybody too. He said, you guys gotta have some questions for me.
Oh my god. He's gonna drop that on your head. Okay. So today we are doing a Q&A instead of a vlog for two reasons. One, it is pouring rain all day and we're not able to leave the house and we're kind of bored.
And we're both kind of sick, so we just don't really have the energy to do much.
No, and Emma, we're trying to keep Emma from getting sick, so we don't want to take her out or anything, so we figured a Q&A is best for today. We haven't done one in a really long time on this channel. I think we did one on my channel in December, but on this channel it's been a really long time.
Yeah.
Okay, some of these questions are more easy to answer than other ones, and some are more geared toward Justin and some are more geared toward me. So we're just gonna jump into it with the first question, which is, do you plan on getting more tattoos? If so, what would you get? I want more, you want more.
What do you want?
So I want one for Emma, obviously. I think I know what I want for her, but I don't know where. I think I'm gonna stick to getting tattoos on this arm and kind of make it into either a half sleeve or something. And so I think I want that, and then I want an office tattoo, which is so lame.
No, it's not.
I really want one, and I know what I want. I want to either get the number 5,986,000, which if you guys watch the show, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's a reference to the show. Or I want to get a beat, but I can't decide. What about you?
Well, I want an Emma one too. I don't know. I have no idea what I want to get for Emma yet.
No, that's why we're waiting.
But then I also want an office tattoo, and this is when Rachelle was like, that would be good. And I fell in love when she told me. I don't know how I want it to look, but I want it to be Lord Beer Me Strike. And I was thinking it being on like a beer bottle or something like that, and that's another reference to the show too. It's so funny.
If you guys know what we're talking about, please let us know in the comments.
I think that'd be so funny.
But honestly, like, the reason I want it is because that show has brought me so much joy over the last few years. In the midst of like not having joy, it was my source of joy, and I always want to remember that. So I love that. Besides you were also.
Well, when I was gone,
yeah.
Couldn't be.
This one's kind of intense. Is there any tension between families/families-in-law, so like Justin's family and my family, to share Emma?
No, and I think that's just because, one, both of our families are very understanding about that type of stuff. Like, granted, we've had issues in the past with other stuff, but like with that, I don't think that there's ever been an issue. And there really can't be an issue because my parents live far away, and my mother-in-law, her mom lives right up the street, so like
our families get along really well.
And it's
so there's
not
ever been an issue with it.
Yeah.
There hasn't been an issue. I don't know if there would have been if they lived in the same city, but I don't think there would because our parents are friends.
Yeah.
They get along very well. They both love Emma, and so they both have her best interests in heart and would never have any issues with it. So I don't see that.
Rachelle and I are pretty cognizant of that too. I think some people run into issues like that because they're not aware of it, and then they're like, oh, I guess she has been spending, or I guess they have been spending too much time. You know you know what I'm saying? I feel like, oh my gosh. I feel like you and I are pretty cognizant of like, hey, my parents are in town, we need to make sure that we spend time with them. But you know, it goes the same both ways. So.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I have to hide this toy from Bo. He's gonna be annoying the entire time.
All right. Did you always want to follow a military career? And if not, what are you studying for college? So,
and then that kind of goes with, how are you doing in school? That was another question
is, how is Justin doing in school? It says Justine, but I don't know who Justine is, but I'm sure they're doing well in school. When I was in high school, I hated school growing up. It was rough. I feel like I never really applied myself because I was such an active kid and I just wanted to spend my time doing other stuff and other things. And then my dad was the one who actually kind of talked to me about joining the military. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. He's like, just do 4 years. He's like, you'll get a good experience from it and stuff. And at that point, I was thinking about going into law enforcement when I got out of high school. And he's like, that would be perfect for you if you had a little bit of military experience, have some background, have some character, some discipline. He said that's what law enforcement agencies look for. And I was like, okay, cool. So I didn't really want to go to college because I was like, school sucks, I hate it. And then when I got into the military, I started to learn more about, you know, like just being like a normal person and how important education is. And then I started going to college when I was in the military. I started taking a couple courses. So I was like, well, that kind of sucks. But I'm honestly glad that I did it because, one, I don't have a bunch of student loans that I have to pay off from going to expensive school, which was super great for me. But I didn't want to stay in the military forever. Rachelle and I kind of talked about that. We didn't want to do 20 years just because that's a rough lifestyle. So I didn't I didn't want to spend my life in the military forever. It wasn't something I wanted to retire from. I just wanted to be home more. I'm more of a family man. So being here and being with you guys and doing something else, I'm a fan of doing like new things. So doing the same thing for 20 years honestly just seems kind of boring to me. Are they playing in the background?
Bo just fell off the couch. I'm sorry. They're freaking out right now. He's still doing his same degree that he started in the military. He's finishing it now, and he might change it. He's not sure. That's why we haven't really talked about it too much, because he hasn't really decided exactly what he wants to do, but he's got plenty of time to decide.
Yeah.
But this one's exciting. I'm so excited you're coming to Ireland. Where exactly will you be visiting? So if you guys watch our vlogs every day, you know that we are going to be going to Ireland this, I think it's spring technically still when we leave. And I am so excited. It is somewhere we have always wanted to go. We are kind of going to be traveling all around the island.
We're going everywhere.
We're starting off in like the Dublin area because that's where we're flying in. We're going to be going to Northern Ireland and visiting Belfast area. We're going to be going to Galway. We're going to be going to Cork and then back up to Dublin.
Pretty much going to make like a counterclockwise
like a circle
around the island and back up in Dublin.
We'll probably stop at like a few cities in between, and we'll probably be on social media. We're going to get an international plan for that period, and we'll be saying where we are. So if you guys are like, hey, I want to see you while you're in Belfast, if we say we're at a certain place, please come by and say hi. We would love that, because I was shocked to see how many of you guys are actually from Ireland and how much you guys love it, and we can't wait to visit. The next question, there's a lot of questions about babies, so let's just do those all at once. So the next one is, would you ever want to carry multiple babies? I'm assuming what it means, like twins or triplets. I wouldn't say necessarily like I want to. I think originally I did. When we first started IVF, the idea of twins was so exciting to me. Now, it's a little bit scary because I'm a high-risk pregnancy, and I mean, I have anxiety when I'm pregnant, especially, so I don't know if I would love that. But I think I would love to have twins. I just think the pregnancy idea scares me, but also a newborn twin scare. I don't think it's something that we would be like, we want twins, but I think if it happened, we would be really excited. And we have a very high chance of having them. I think for future IVF transfers, we're still gonna end up transferring 2 embryos because it makes the most sense to us to put your body through all of that. Just to do one and not have it work is hard. So it's a very high chance, but I wouldn't say that that's like what we really want, even though we did in the past. This one kind of goes along with that, which was about labor. So it says, what was the hardest part of your labor experience? I'm gonna include him on this too, like not just like me actually giving birth, but like the whole like experience in the hospital. I think the hardest parts, I had 2. The hardest parts for me were the fact that my epidural stopped working. Obviously, that was terrible. And then the second part was right after delivery, I actually started to hemorrhage, and I panicked. I tried not to, but I did, and I remember looking at my doula because she was scared, but not like trying to scare me, and then like looking at Justin, but Justin didn't really understand what hemorrhaging was, and so he was confused. No, like you didn't know how serious it was. You did? Oh, well then you were keeping me very calm too, because I was freaking out because you guys were both very like, it's fine, but I was really scared. We actually had to have, my doctor had left the hospital because I had already given birth, and then had to turn around and come back to TMI, clean me out because it was really dangerous and bad, and my lower back was really bad. That was probably the hardest part because I was terrified. But I don't know about you, what your hardest
I would say that was because everyone had been talking about it so much throughout the process. They'd be like, okay, well, we hope that you don't do that, we hope that we don't the hemorrhage, and then they kind of explained it like, okay, this is what it would be like, this is, if you notice any pain in your lower back, please let us know. If you like, they were basically preparing for it kind of, but then, so we're like, oh, that's not gonna happen. The dude was like, it's not gonna happen, don't worry about it. And then when it happened, I'm like, oh shoot.
It was very scary.
That sounds pretty serious. From what they've been talking about, they sounded pretty serious, and the fact that they had to call the doctor back
But luckily our doctor
come
came back. Like,
yeah.
he was such an amazing OB.
But that was rough, was seeing you go through that, and then having to watch that process, like Rachelle said, TMI, but having to watch that process of him,
it was painful.
Clean you out and seeing your face and hoping that everything would be okay. That was a little bit
And I
intense.
know I was just holding Emma the whole time, like, God, please. But our doctor was amazing. He came back. He did not have to come back and do that. He chose to come back and do that because he knew I had anxiety and I was terrified. And he came back, and they could have had the on-call doctor do it. They didn't. I loved our doctor, and I want him again next time we have a baby, like 100%. Okay, next one is kind of like that. This one's a little bit more personal. They go hand in hand because there's two literally like following each other in the Instagram stories, which was, how is your intimacy after having Emma, and is it hard to find time for intimacy as a couple with a new baby? So I'll maybe start first and then you share. I think the first few weeks were really hard, but I think that that's expected because you're, at least for first-time parent, I would say, because if you already have a baby, you kind of know what to expect. When you're a first-time parent, it's kind of like you're thrown into, like, I don't know what's going on, and like so many postpartum emotions, and you just don't want to be apart from your baby, and so it's hard to find that time. So the first, I would say, 2 months. I mean, you're not even supposed to have sex until
6 weeks.
6 weeks, but the first 2 months, it was rough, and I think it's easy because, like, Justin was like, I'm ready, 6 weeks, I'm ready, and I was like, I'm not. It was scary. But yeah, after that, it was actually better than it was before I gave birth. Because when I was pregnant, I was uncomfortable, I was miserable. Before that, Justin was deployed. Like, it just wasn't good.
We didn't get to spend a lot of time together for a very long time since before I left. It was pretty much like a good year.
Yeah.
Since we had really shared any enjoyed it
together
and really enjoyed it, like
and to not have your mind be distracted.
Yeah, and that was hard for me because there was a lot of the postpartum stuff that Rachelle was going through that I didn't understand, because dads are completely different than moms, and we don't experience that type of like
hormones.
It's like that. There's a certain connection between a mom and her child after you give birth, and through all the stuff you went through while being pregnant, and the worry and the anxiety and all this stuff.
But I think around the 2-month mark was when it started to get better.
But like now, like even with a 5-month-old, like it's been good. Like us just not even just sex, but just intimacy wise, like just being with you and spending time together and like loving you and finding time to be together. I feel like we've actually excelled more after having Emma than we did before. Like honestly, I was kind of worried about that. I don't know if you were. I think it was
just uncharted territory is like the right way to put it. Like we didn't know what to expect.
But I'm
now
really
he gets it
proud.
twice a week.
I'm really proud of just us, like, and the fact that we do find time to spend time together and we make that a big priority. But I'd say that was the biggest thing for me, was not understanding at first, hey, this is going to be different, and understanding why it was going to be different. But once I learned what that difference was, and once I really thought about it and understood it and like almost like embraced it. Once I embraced that difference, that's when it was a lot easier for me. I wasn't as upset. I wasn't as like, what the heck is going on?
I wasn't
it's
as
just so much
distracted
easier.
when we talked about it.
It's a lot easier when you fully understand. So I'd say that was the biggest thing for me. But
sorry,
it's been
so
good.
awkward to talk
so
about
good.
that stuff.
What, you don't like talking about sex?
No.
Why not?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Okay, the next questions are about our house. They all kind of go hand in hand. And by our house, I mean like plans for like moving and stuff. We actually talked about this in yesterday's vlog, if you haven't seen it, about moving out of state and stuff. It was a really long vlog. It was like 20-minute vlog. So if you go back to yesterday's vlog, we talked about it a little bit more. Some of the questions are, how's the mortgage saving going, your future plans, and describe your dream home. So they all kind of go hand in hand. So start with, how's the mortgage saving going? And it's going really well. I'm a little bit nervous for tax season coming up, because I think that's gonna have to come out of there a little bit, because we have you know, we're self-employed, we have to pay taxes. But other than that, we've been doing really good with it. I think we save every penny we make from our income goes straight into savings, and then basically we just take from our savings what we need per paycheck. So basically everything is going into savings and we're just taking out what we physically need each paycheck. So that's why it's going really good, I think. I like that we do that. It's super different
than how we used to live, but we really,
we
really enjoyed this because
I love it.
It's like you're only taking exactly what you need. And I feel like that might be dangerous for a lot of people, but Rachelle and I have been very financially strict for years.
But also,
to where
like,
that's a good place for us to be.
But I don't want it to be like, oh, but what do you mean only what you need? Like, for us, everyone's needs are different. Like, we spend money on stuff that we don't need. But when I say we take out what we need, I'm like, what we know we're going to be spending money on. That's how we budget. Like, exactly. And that's kind of like what the question, I have another question about budgeting. I'll come back to that, actually. But it's really good. It works for us. So it's helped us save a lot. Yeah. And then our future home plans, as far as saving for a mortgage goes, we have no idea. We go back and forth on this topic so often that Justin and I, and Bo apparently, have no idea. Just, we don't know what we want. We know we want not this. We know we don't want to stay here, but we don't know if we want to buy a house now, wait a couple years. We don't know if we want to stay in California. We don't know if we want to move somewhere like Texas or Utah, wherever our families are. I don't even have words. We have no.
There's just so many options. And there's so much to
and you
consider.
don't want to make the wrong decision, so you like stress over like what the right decision is. And
I've
we
heard
don't
horror stories from people that they have
their house
buyer's remorse and stuff from buying a new house. I'm like, dude, that's awful. I don't ever want to be in those shoes to where I'm regretting a decision about buying a house.
That's like our worst nightmare. So that's why it's taking us so long to choose. And I honestly think like, sorry, our house is shaking because we live near a military base, Camp Pendleton, and they're doing mortars and the whole house is like shaking, so it freaks Bo and us out. We'll have to let you guys know when we make a decision.
Well, we're in such a good spot right now to where I'm very thankful where we are.
We're content.
Exactly. Because
and I feel like we weren't content.
We weren't at first. I think we were getting really excited about it and like being like, God, we got to get out of here. And I feel like some of you guys noticed that too, because you're like, you guys, like, you're in a good spot, like, calm down. And we're like, yeah, you're right. So we had to really consider it for a while, but after we thought about it, like, we have such a good rent for the area that we live in, honestly. We have a very good landlord who takes care of us. We're just here.
Old.
Exactly. It's old, but like it's a good spot right now to where we can live in. We could raise one more child here.
One more.
We could have one more baby.
If we get pregnant with twins, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can only have 2 kids in this house.
Yeah, there's just not enough bedrooms, not enough.
It's too much.
Not enough rooms.
Yeah, so.
And we want a 1-story, so we don't have to worry about kids climbing down the stairs. That terrifies me. And then this one goes. The last like home question was to describe your dream home.
Oh man, I know for you'd want a sunroom.
A sunroom. Oh, I love a sunroom. Well, my dream home in general is to build. Yeah. I want to build. I don't want to buy. I mean, we'll probably buy first, and then in a couple of years after that, we would build. But my dream is to build so that we could pick the things that we wanted. But I don't think we could do that where we live. So we would have to move out of state in order to build. Yeah. But if I were to just say like we could up and like build our dream home like wherever we wanted, I want a 1-story probably like farmhouse style with a sunroom. And I love baby windows like he said. Big open floor plan, lots of room to have friends and family. A big island. I want a big island in the kitchen and not painted dark brown cabinets. Oh gosh. And or just like our, clean. Our
awful mahogany or like purplish violet cabinets. Oh.
I just want like an open, clean floor plan where we can have lots of friends and family come stay with us. What about you?
I'm literally right there with you. Rachelle and I are so on the same page when it comes to houses. That's a place where her and I really connect well. We love looking. We've never bickered back and forth about a house. We're always like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Like we share that love for that type of style.
I love dreaming about it, so it's fun. But we're not ready, but it's fun to dream.
It is fun to dream.
Guys, what's your dream houses? Let us know. Can you do a more detailed budget video sometime? Which I have been getting requests for a very, very, very long time. I did one a few years ago, or a year and a half ago, I want to say. But obviously a lot has changed since then. Justin's not in the military anymore, different health insurance, etc., etc. So I need to get around to it. It's just very different than I think most people experience because of the like I said, the way we plan our income. But let me know if that's still something you guys are interested in seeing. And then I think there's just 2 more questions. So the last 2 questions were the most requested ones out of the entire thing. I'd say 50% of the questions were, when are you having baby number 3? We have no idea. This year probably. We'll probably get pregnant. We'll probably get, I say probably because so many things can change, but I say probably this year we will get pregnant. Yeah. But we won't have the baby, but we'll probably get pregnant this year because I don't think Emma's anywhere close to being ready to stop breastfeeding, and I don't want to like just be like, you're done. So that's the main issue right now, is figuring all of that out logistic wise. But I did visit our IVF clinic like last week when you were gone at school, when I took Emma to the doctor, and I went to go say hi, and they were all like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? When are you coming back? And they were like, it's not that you have to be done breastfeeding necessarily, it's that your milk will dry up when you start medications, and so you're just gonna have to stop regardless. So I think if I had to guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I would say in this summer, we would probably start meds and everything, because Emma will be almost 1. And it will probably take a while to get pregnant still, because the IVF cycle takes quite a bit of time. And we also don't know if it'll work the first try. That's assuming that the first transfer we do, we get pregnant, which we have a competing no on the first try and then 2 yeses on the first try. So we'll see what kind of...
Yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, here's our last question. It is, do you want your next baby to be a boy or a girl? We really don't care. I don't care what our next baby is. I've always wanted a boy. Yeah. But like, I really don't. We're gonna be happy either way.
Yeah, I don't care when we have a boy. I would love to have a boy. Because same thing, if we had a boy first, I would have loved to have a girl at some point also, but I don't care when they come. Because if a girl came next, Emma would have like a sister that's really close in age, hopefully, and like me and my sister, and I love that. If we had a boy next, Justin and his sister are really close, and I know they'd have a great friendship as well. So I just think that eventually we would love both, but I don't care like what order they come in.
There's no specific order.
No, we're just so happy to have any healthy, happy baby. And I think that is our last question, right? Yeah, you said that was our last one. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching this Q&A. I think this was longer than we thought it was gonna be. I only picked like 10 or 12 questions, and it still ended up probably being like 20 minutes, it seemed.
Rachelle and I are talkers.
Yeah, sorry
about that. All we do is rant.
But that is it for this video, and we'll have a normal vlog for you tomorrow when Emma gets dedicated. Yeah. I'm so excited at church. So we'll talk to you guys soon.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Good day.
On repeat, I will break like a twig.